guys, it's Eric G from Around the House Show. Is your barbecue just barely holding on and you need to upgrade it? We got you covered. Monument Grills was founded by three good friends in Atlanta, Georgia that wanted high-quality, durable grills inspired by iconic monuments. The grills are created for the person who loves to cook and are built to last and to enhance your outdoor cooking experience. What I love is that they are the best quality grills for under $900. So check out the American gas grill experts at monumentgrills.com. I bet you'll love to cook on one like I do. Check out the new standard in outdoor cooking at monumentgrills.com.
Now that is a tasty burger. Get your next barbecue at monumentgrills.com. When it comes to remodeling or renovating your home, there is a lot to know, and we have got you covered. This is Around the House.
Welcome to the Around the House Show, the next generation of home improvement. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Eric G. This is our midweek update. This is that brand new show that comes out in the middle of the week that maybe didn't fit in last week's show or isn't going to fit into next weekend's show. And we got a lot going on this weekend that we'll talk a little bit about later. First off, this episode is brought to you by my friends at Monument Grills. They have a ridiculous new line of grills that just came out this week. You got to check out. If you're out there looking for that propane barbecue grill, the one that's got wheels you move around out there, these guys have got you covered. And I'm not just kidding. I have one myself that I have out at the beach house, and it is great. But they have a new series out there. It is the Emanescence. So we'll talk about this for a second. They've got the 405 series. So you got this, it's basically just a heavy duty, high-end smart grill. Here's the thing I like. It's got the clear view window, so you can actually see what's cooking inside without letting all the heat out. So it's got this smart app syncing touch panel LED that shows temperature, propane, gas capacity, and it's got knob lights. It's got 3 modes of temperature sensing knob lightings. You see where I'm going with this. It's really cool. And they've got the 405 we just talked about. They've got the 425 and the 605. So it's got all these different things. And the Emanescence 605 as well can be used for natural gas and propane. So you can sit there if you've got that thing coming out the back of the wall and you need something there. They are really getting that dialed in. So if you're looking for something that's a little nicer that you don't have to throw away every 2 years because you spent $300 down there on sale at your home center, check them out at monumentgrills.com. Good stuff. I'm going to be seeing those guys next week. I'll be showing some video on it as I'm at the National Hardware Show next week. So make sure and watch our channels for that. We'll be taking a look at this stuff. Today, I wanted to talk about a bunch of different things. A lot going on out there in the world of home improvement, design, and construction. And I know you hear me talking about Design and Construction Week. This is the one big trade show in the world that covers everything home improvement. And so that's where all the new products come out. So we'll be talking about that over the coming weeks because it really sets the stage of what's going to happen in 2025 and 2026. Until next year when the show comes back. And then, of course, next week, I'll be at the National Hardware Show like we talked. And that's a lot of fun because I get to see a lot of separate tools, new inventions, things like that. Always fun, lots of barbecuing, that kind of stuff. There's a lot going on there. One of the things I wanted to talk about this week, and it's something that I was playing around with at my house, and I think it's something that you should too. Take a look around. I grabbed an air sensor, a portable air quality monitor off Amazon. And I was going through and playing around with this thing around my house. And it measures everything from the PM 2.5, which is your particulate matter. So that's that small stuff that's floating around in the air. It measures formaldehyde, CO2, so how many people are breathing inside the house, CO, carbon monoxide, and as well as a lot of other little things in the air. So it's going volatile organic compounds. It's doing all these different things. So it's really telling me what's going on. Here's the shocking thing that I noticed. I had a couple air quality monitors in my house. But when I was rolling around the house, taking a look at stuff, in the kitchen, I would have just a tiny bit of carbon monoxide. And what's interesting is it's in the safe levels from what everybody says. And I know if I talk to my friends like Caroline Blazowski, they're going to say there's no safe levels. And I get that. But when I get 1 and 2 parts per million when I'm sitting by the range, even though I haven't used it that day. Doing some research, that's really normal when you have a gas range in the house. So that was common. Now, the other thing that was interesting, though, is I moved around the house. In the kitchen, the formaldehyde levels were super low. But if I start moving around the living room, when I get close to Julie's pillows that are the cheap ones you get like at Target or any one of those kind of places online, whether it's Big Lots that was closing or whatever else, those things spiked. So whatever was in the foam, whatever was in that plastic fur or whatever that was on them, starts going off. And I'm like, interesting. That cheap stuff was off-gassing pretty badly. I thought that was interesting. Now, the other thing I noticed is because we'd had some bad weather, my house had stayed pretty tightened up. As I've been doing more and more, really basically doing more and more of the energy efficiency stuff in the house, I'm tightening my home up. So I had higher levels of carbon dioxide. And I'm like, I need more fresh air in this house. So it was really eye-opening to see what was happening with that because I didn't notice this. But I went, I wonder what happens if and it did this for a day or two. I was like, okay, rain stopped. I opened up my skylight, turned the fan on for 24 hours on low because I have a Carrier Infinity furnace so I can turn on low, high, mid, whatever on the fan. So I turned it on low and just let the air move in the house. Boom. My air quality went from suspect back down to green. And now that I'm moving the air around more and mixing it up a little bit, it's way better. So it's interesting how that changes around and how I need to work on in my own home, getting more fresh air inside. And I've got a 1977 home. So that tells me that I need to start working on maybe adding in some fresh air, maybe a ERV or something like that to bring more fresh air in. And even though I'm running the bath fan, I'm running other stuff, I noticed that was an issue. Now, the good thing was when I came out in the garage, my VOCs were super low, so that was great. And that's because most of my chemicals I store outside underneath the carport and some lock cabinets out there. That stuff's not off-gassing inside the house. So those have been some of my secrets and my findings of playing around. Now, there's another thing here that I had somebody call last night, and we'll be talking about him on this weekend show, but an old friend of mine in the show. And he was talking about VOCs in paint and smells. And there is something that I ran into, and we have an amazing program here in the Portland metro area where I live here in Oregon. And it is a paint recycling program. So what happens is we have this pseudo government group that runs elected, non-elected. It's a weird deal. They run everything from the garbage, as far as the landfills, they run the parks, they run the zoo. It's like our little Portland shadow government here. And they have this program where you pay like $1 a can or a gallon for paint as a little tax. And then what they do is when you're done with that paint and you go to get rid of it, you drop it off and recycle it. Then they mix it into new paint again, which in theory is awesome. But I tell you what, here is the problem with recycled paint. And I'm not sure how this gets fixed. I'm going to do some testing on it. I want to see what's going on. But here is the problem. Everybody drops off the old paint. The problem is it could be 10-year-old paint. It could be moldy. It could be nasty. It could be whatever. And it just gets dumped in. So when you go paint this stuff on the ceiling, you have this Mad Max just stew of chemicals of all these different paint companies that are mixed together. And then they make it into these certain colors so they can dye it and get it to the right color. It smells horrible. And so I had a call asking about what's this stuff off-gassing? And I went, I'm concerned. He didn't even tell me what paint brand it was. I go, they must have got that Metro paint. And he goes, oh my gosh, how did you know? I'm like, I've used it. It's not pleasant. It's cheap. It's green, but I'm not sure how healthy it is. So that's going to be an interesting one right there. And so that's fascinating right there. And I think that could lead to other problems. So my goal here is I'm going to give a call today to my friend Caroline Blazowski, America's Healthy Home Expert. I want to do some testing and see what's going on so we can see what's happening. and see if this stuff is even healthy to be putting in your home or what. So we'll see what happens there. And then, boy, guys, there's so much going on with all these shows. I got a great show coming up this weekend. It's something that I've been wanting to do for probably 7 or 8 years. Now, there is, in the Pacific Northwest, there was a competing show to Around the House when we were not a national show called the Weekend Warriors. And it was brought to you by Par Lumber here in our area, which is a big, huge lumberyard chain in the Pacific Northwest. And Tony and Corey have been doing that. We've been like the Ford versus Chevy here in town. And we were always nice to each other, and it was always fun, but we were always competing quietly in the background. I love those guys. Anyway, we finally get them on the show this weekend for the first time, and it is a wild one. And yes, we're sitting out here in my garage. We're having a good time, and you'll hear in the show tease, yeah, Tony and Corey, love those guys. One of the bar stools broke. Nobody got hurt, thanks to them. Quick on their feet, but we left it in the show so you can hear it. And I'll tell you what, little insider, I did not change the audio of that one bit. That is purely off the mic of what you hear. There's no editing. There's none of that. No enhancing, no sound effects. It's pretty epic. And every time I hear it, I just laugh. So it'll be a great one coming up. Oh, and I wanted to give you another quick update where I was talking about my last stay in Las Vegas at Resorts World. And I tell you what, again, I said never stay there. It was just an absolute horrible experience. Now, here is one of the crazy things. They sent me a bill afterwards for resort fees that I already paid. And also for stuff that was taken out of the mini fridge that was locked. I couldn't have got into it if I wanted to. And it was broken. And it was warm. So I had a $300 bill show up saying, hey, we need to get your credit card again to run this. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is how jacked up Resorts World is. And yeah, I did light them up a little bit going, come on, guys, you need to get your act together. And I did file a complaint with the honors people to find out what's going on there. Because I tell you what, it is just a hot mess at Resorts World. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger as time goes on. It's not getting any better. And when I'm in Las Vegas next week, I'm not staying there. I'm going back to the Sahara, which has been my little place to hang out and have a good time with. So we're going to be doing that. Recalls this week, we have got a ton of them to talk about. So there's a Igloo cooler recall where there's 1,000,000 90-quart rolling coolers due to fingertip amputation and crushing hazards. So Igloo, it's got this basically wheel cooler. Watch out for that one. The other big stuff, and there's some big ones here, so let's go down the list because there's a lot on this list. And there's some big companies here too. So if we go down here and go through the list, our power equipment recalls tow behind field and brush mowers due to laceration hazard. The blade carrier spindle bolt can come loose, causing the blade assembly to detach, and there's about 890 of those. Kubota recalls utility tractors due to crash hazard. Clutch cable can break on the recalled MX5400 DTC utility tractors, and there's about 2,600 of those. There's a lot of different like little iPhone camera grips, things like that we have. There are dressers. There are Homebox blackout roller shades recalled due to strangulation and entanglement hazards. There's about 5,000 of those. Take a look at that. There's Polaris ATV bearings that are now being recalled. So if you're a Polaris person, Goal Zero recalls Solar Series combiner cables for solar panels due to fire hazard. Only about 530 of those, so that's pretty rare. Triangle Tube recalls Prestige and Airco steam gas boilers due to carbon monoxide poisoning, with 2 deaths reported. There's about 60,000 of those here in the U.S., so that's a big one. There's a boot. There is a odor stop recalls boot and shoe dryers and deodorizers. I could say that due to fire hazard. Didn't even know those existed. That's cool if you've got wet boots. And that's the most of them right here from what I can see. There's a lot of things like avalanche transponders and things like that. Looking to see if there's anything else here. No, that's pretty much it. A lot of avalanche transceivers to be looking at and baby stuff. So take a look over there at cpsc.gov/recalls. All right, everybody, we are running over on time over this. I try to keep this as tight as we can, and we went a little bit long. We got a great show coming up this weekend, and I can't wait to show it to you. And we'll be talking about that on Friday when I update you with the latest upcoming show. I'm Eric G. Thanks for tuning in to Around the House. Have a great rest of your week. I'll see you on Saturday.
Unseen and undiscovered, anywhere beyond the mean. Life is a love song, let's be lovers. We're all over the radio. Take my hand, I know where to go. All over the radio with you.
Are you a contractor, landscaper, or small business owner? Are you tired of renting or pulling that worn-out trailer to the job site? Is that really the best look for your company? It's time to up your game and check out the trailers from Summit Trailer. If you want the highest quality trailer you can own, they are proudly made right here in Oregon with a dealer network all along the West Coast. What I love about my Summit Trailer is that it's a dump trailer that was designed to work. I can load it up without having to worry about if it's going to be able to lift the load, and it pulls like a dream. This was built to work. So it doesn't matter if you want a dump trailer like mine or a deck over flatbed, tilt bed, or utility trailer. They got a trailer that'll fit your needs. Invest in your business with something you'll feel proud of, pulling up to any job site or your next project. Check out the best trailer in the West at summittrailermfg.com. Check out the dealer locator and find your nearest dealer at summittrailermfg.com.